And guys, like before, if you could like, subscribe, share, and definitely comment. I like comments. So if you have any comments that you'd like to add, feel free to add them. And I'd love to be able to, you know, do another video based on, y'all's thoughts and input because y'all are valuable people. And for those new subscribers that we have, I tip my cup to you. So I got to thinking about it. Have y'all ever been to those meetings where you're like, okay, well, I just got a meeting under my belt and, you know, heard some stuff and I get to go out and do my day now. And, but then you have those other meetings where it's like, holy crap. And you wind up talking about it for hours. And I think the difference is, was I talked to or did I experience something? And I made a topic of a meeting once. I said, why do you share what you share? Now, go ahead and pause the video and think about that. Why do you share what you share? And even if it's not in the meeting environment, when you're sharing, over dinner with people or when you're engaging with other people, why do you share what you share? And but in regards to the meetings, I said there's one restriction, and I said you are not allowed to say to share my experience, strength, and hope, and you are not allowed to say what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. Those are your two things that you're not allowed to cover, because those are generic, at this point, because we know that's our primary purpose, right? But on a personal level, why do you share what you share? And people had a hard time getting started with this one, and they just kind of looked at me like, nobody's ever asked me. And so then the ball started rolling. People said a bunch of stuff. Some newcomers were stating how they share where they're at to try to just kind of vent some stuff out of them, right? Maybe they had a bad day and it's like, I'm getting frazzled over this, and it's silly and nonsensical to everybody in here, but to me, it carries a lot of value, and value not necessarily positive. It could be, I'm putting a lot of emphasis on this stuff. It's stressing me out, and so when I talk about it, I kind of like relieve the pressure a little bit. I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. Other people were stating that, when they share, sometimes they actually have questions in there. It's like I'm in this situation and I really don't know what to do. And and this falls away from, like standard topics of what's the topic of the day? Well, let's talk about fear. Okay, I mean, talking about fear is really good because that's the number one taker outer of AA peeps. Um, you know, but a lot of times, we're saying what fear is, but not how to get out of it. You know, we don't offer suggestions of, okay, when I'm in this position, this is what I do. And so I don't know. I mean, if I'm asking a question about how do I cope with something, I don't want the answer to be, well, this is what it is. Not all the time. I mean, it's now there were a couple people that had shared, you know, well, there's only one reason why I'm here, and that is to share my experience, strength, and hope with the newcomers so that they can achieve sobriety. I'm like, well, you broke the one rule, the one boundary that you had. So that's fine, because now we learned absolutely nothing new about you except for it's your way, and that's it. And, and for them, it works. Me, when I share stuff, I do it for a multitude of reasons. First and foremost is I want to participate in my own recovery. And a lot of times I find that as I'm talking to people, and I'm sharing something, I believe it, or else I'm not going to say it. And, so I try to impart on them some knowledge, but really I'm solidifying it for myself. This is what I believe. That when things get tough, I just, no matter what, just don't drink. And, you know, and so that I find to be helpful. If I could just keep it that simple, just don't drink. And, in meetings where it's more of an experience, these are the ones where people talk outside. And, they talk after the meeting, right? So they're now validating their stuff. Those meetings where you're leaving and you're still talking about it, you're still thinking about it, it's gradually changing the mindset, right? If I go to a meeting and hey, that's great, and then I go outside to the picnic table, for example, and say, hey, how'd your boy do in sports? It's like, did you not attend something? I can go on a vacation, right? And if I'm only getting like little bits and pieces of stuff, I'm not going to enjoy it thoroughly, right? But if I go and I plan this vacation, and the first thing that happens is, damn it, I get a flat tire, halfway there, and then it starts raining, while I'm there, and I'm having to make do, and I'm having to do all this stuff to try to make things, overcome every single thing that I've gone through. Now, at the time, I'm going to be thoroughly pissed that my vacation was interrupted with so many things that appear negative. But then, the next year, let's say it's with the same person, right? It's like, do you remember last year when all this stuff happened? And I can remember minute details of everything about it. But I'm not saying it with the same anger and aggression that I had while I was experiencing it. I'm saying it now, I'm laughing about it, and it's like, wow, this terrible thing has wonderful results. Just not at the time. I had to experience this stuff. There was a meeting that I was at not too long ago where this girl came in, and she was hurting bad. And she had talked about her dad died from the disease. Her brothers, 3 of them, I believe it was 3, died from the disease. And so she was not happy. She had that feeling of the survivor's regret, remorse, where it's like, these were good people, and I've been a dirtbag. There's a lot of that going on. It's less self-deprecating. And, at the very end, when I was tying up the meeting, I said, because the topic was about having faith. And, she was questioning her higher power and, what he's up to. And so at the very end, I was thinking, and I was like, what, I got something positive to add. And so I said, this is what I'm thinking. And the second I said that, I had a brain fart. And I'm just like, hold on, it'll come to me. And, and it wasn't planned, and but it was building up suspense. And I was like, well, never mind. I'm not going, oh, wait, no, it came back to my mind. And I said, having doubt in a higher power is not a contradiction of faith. It's actually part of one of the qualities of having faith is that you do have doubts. And her jaw dropped and her eyes got big. And she said this. She said, this morning when I woke up, I picked up my dad's Bible, and I don't pick it up. And I picked it up, and I opened it up to the very first page, and he had handwritten in there, doubt is a principle of faith. And I was speechless. I just like, what? Everybody in the room, there was like 3 or 4 people that went, and gasped audibly. And everybody was like, what the hell? And you could see it in her face like it's, holy crap. And once I was able to gain my composure, I said, it would appear God's in this room right now, and he's with you. Because how random of a thing for me to say for her to have read it earlier that morning for the very first time, I have no doubt God was in the room. I have no doubt that God was talking to her. I have no doubt in my mind that she got to learn something about faith right then and there. You know, and everybody that was in that meeting, we still talk about it. Here it is a couple weeks later. You know, how just something so random could impact somebody so heavily. These are the things that make going to meetings and sharing what's personal to you an experience versus just, I'm just going to quote something out of the big book, share for a minute on it, and move on with my life. You know, checking the box that I attended a meeting and I shared something. You know, I value people that will speak from the heart all the time. And, to me, that has a lot of positive value to it. I may not like what you say, I may not agree with what you say, but it came from the heart, and it can't be wrong.